So, we're going to call this today trailer talk or trailer trash. Well, basically, we're going to trash the trailer and make some changes. Take off this beautiful little artifact. In fact, we're going to get cracking right at that right away because I don't want to waste time on film, because I believe that some of this gets horribly boring watching people take things apart. At least it does for me. I lose my attention span in about 35 seconds anyway. It's that adult ADD thing. And we've already provided a little bucket for the miscellaneous nuts and bolts, as you can hear. And this little artifact is going to get, oops, just I gotta know how to run a wrench. Is going to get mailed up to Tony to put on the garage wall, the den wall, or some wall somewhere. So we're going to go put this off to the side. Neat stuff. Yesteryear. Let's see. We're going to be yanking out the wiring harness first. We're going to take him apart from the back. Going forward here, I already went snip with the wires, and I don't know what to do here. If I should take this light bracket, or this license plate bracket is deleted. So that being said, I think I'll just take the light off of it, and that will just leave the bracket. Which you need to bracket. Looks like it's slightly bent too, which is nice. It's always good when everything's bent. Although I haven't seen a boat trailer come in here that wasn't all bent to hell. Most of them in the tongue, like I showed earlier, that things happen. And they get jackknifed, and sometimes it's excessive amount of brewskis coming off the beach. And how these people made it. There we go. Deleted. And deleted too because I remember having a conversation with Tony about this earlier. And he said that he would rather go LED versus popped light bulbs because he forgot to unhook the lights on the trailer. And that is a very real thing. Now this bracket's all bent up here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll put this in the press and straighten it. It'll be just like new. And you can't possibly have enough wire clips. Where'd I put the thing? I had a thing for these. All set out to put these in. Oh, here we go. Little things like wire clips and cotter pins and things like that. You know, you just really gotta put them in some kind of a pail or whatever. I might be popping in and out of camera range here. I'm trying to do this video with the camera turned because I've heard that's better. I don't know that it is or that it ain't. Guess I'll have to wait and see if somebody comments on it. That was a wire tie. Yep. Deleted. Ouch. Those things can be pokey little buggers. These clips, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe you can see that. I don't know. These things here are supposed to hold the wire in place. They do a really good job. 90% of the time they're snapped off. And they're supposed to be... that one snapped. And so is this one. Well, this is supposed to come around and go this way. So there's supposed to be a piece of metal here. And I don't know if you can see that piece of metal there. And that's snapped off. So all you have is this is supposed to clip to the frame. So they had shoved the wire in here and then shoved that on there. And well, that's not the best, but it got the job done. We'll put all new stuff in there, and it'll all be in wire loom and look all pretty like. see. Now where to put them side cutters? We need to disconnect our marker right here. Let's do that right there. Oh, here's one that's all intact. There, now I can show you. This is a good one. That's what that's supposed to look like. The wire goes in here, and this hooks to the frame. And yeah, you can see that. There you go. So that's a good one. So let's see, we got one good one out of 4. So anyway, so Jesus, and that one's on there. And let's see, let's just double up the wire and shove it all in there. Nobody cuts anything off. I'm starting to notice this pattern. And this goes up through the tongue. And that one will too. I'm going to yank this out of here. And this out of here. And just let it lay down there. Because when I get done here, I'm just going to grab the front of it and go out through the front. So, same procedure on the other side. I've already taken the indecent liberty of whacking that off. Ooh, good one. Sometimes these can be a royal bugger to get off of here, just because they're really old and brittle, and they just don't like to spread anymore. Or they just want to be a pain. There's another one, and another one. Oh, that was better. And another wire tie. And this one here is broken, but we'll save him anyway. And anymore. There's another one. Another one. So, I'm sure that you'll find this horribly boring, but if you're going to replace the wiring harness anyway, you could just chop this whole thing out in bits and pieces and throw it away. But I have been notorious for saving things because for strange reasons, you never know what you might possibly need sometime. A section of wire or whatever, for whatever reason, maybe a mistaken judgment, like I frequently do on one of my trailers. I seem to shred the wiring harness, which my son really is happy with me because I always send it to him and say, hey, fix this. I like to give him wiring jobs. Let's see. And I put my snips where? Oh, this is getting ridiculous. Okay, now I put them somewhere. Okay, my audience has to tell me where I leave my tools. That's just a rule. I'm going to make that a rule. Wait a minute, you're not here. Okay, that's done. Alright. There you go, a couple of minutes and the wiring is all done. More or less. Just so you can grab it in the front and find out, huh? Now, let's see. That's going to require, my God, that's rusted. I need a wrench. The ground side here. Actually, I don't care. Oh my God, this trailer frame is so crushed. And they got it running through that hole. Oh wow. That's probably not going to come off. My guess is. Just going to get right to that square thing. Oh no, it came through the wall. Yeah, I'm probably out of camera range. Now I'm probably led to believe that that piece is still in there. Don't matter. It's getting sandblasted. Okay, we're almost done with the lighting circuit here. One little really giggity goo here to get off, and that would be this light. Now, another thing that I went and checked and I had some concerns on was was where the boat is going to ride, where it used to ride when it was new and what was changed. I don't know why it was changed. Maybe thought it was going to be easier to load. I don't know. But I know it's old and I want the bunks sitting on stringers. And so, that being said, they will be getting widened. And ironically, I did some checking on the transport trailer, and those are set at 3 feet. I came in here and measured these, and there's 3 feet exactly. So they were set up right to begin with when they were new, and then for whatever reason they got moved. These will be tipped slightly this way, or I will run and put a angle. I'll figure out the angle of the transom, and I will put an angle cut on this 2x4, and then I'll put the 2x6 on top of that. Now the boat's going to sit on identically the same spot when I move this out, because the hull is a V, it goes upward. So that's going to be a win on that. This next part's kind of noisy, so I'm probably going to shut the camera off. I'm going to use my impact wrench, and I'm going to take these bunks off and the rollers and anything that's on the back of the bed. Weight, I'm going to have to engineer my step piece that's going to come out from here before I remove the fender and the axle. I'm going to engineer this part, and it's going to stick out to about here so that somebody can not step on the fender and step on the pad and step into the boat when the boat is not in the water. Now, back to this whole thing that I was thinking about the bunks, and I got to thinking about one other thing. How much bow weight do we have with this boat? And when I put a 6-cylinder Mercury on the back of this thing, it's going to be butt heavy. Are we going to lose our tongue weight? But we're going to have a forward fuel cell, so that's going to help gain some tongue weight back. No gas cans in the back, there's just a battery in the middle, and the other 2 sides will be storage, and then there'll be a trim pump. But is that really going to be so bad that I have to move this axle back? You can unbolt these. Here and here is for the fender. By the way, that would not be drilled for the, I figured that out too the other day. There's a series of holes here. Anyway, this assembly is designed to slide forward or backward, and there's a series of holes all the way along the frame rail. So what I was trying to say is, do I need to move it back so there's more tongue weight and less chance for the back end to flip down when somebody steps in the boat when it ain't hooked to a vehicle? Or, you know, you don't want no tongue weight, because then it's going to wander all over the road either. So I think it's going to be fine, because we're moving so much of the aft weight of the boat forward. I think it's going to be fine. It was hard to tell without a motor on it. I may drop a motor on it. Well, I have to anyway, because I've got a couple things I need to do measurement-wise. Measurement-wise. That filet flipper from McDonald's is coming back on me. Or maybe it's the Fukushima fish. That's what it's called. Let's see if I glow later. You see me glowing in a video? Call 911. I have to go to the vinyl shop too and get the covering for this deal here too, and I really want to get out of here and do that yet today. Not sure how much of me has been off camera, but we're going to move this over to here, I guess, so you can see what the next steps are, like the rollers. By the way, I'm going to mention this again, I'm filming this horizontally. so you can see what's going on. We're already at 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop here, remove a bunch of stuff, get a bare frame, and I'll be back. Well, we're back. As you can see, things are missing. Lots of things. We're down to the H-frame, and I figured out some neat stuff with the fender deal. I'm going to just try to stand on my head here. Okay, so this bolt, oops, over here. This bolt, where's my hand? This bolt and this bolt go through the fender bracket. Well, good Lord. Do you know what you're doing? Used to film in the other way. This is hilarious. Okay, so these go through a bracket that goes down here, that goes to that, and so on and so on. So this should be pretty easy peasy to take the bolts out, leave it sit where it is, put a piece of 1x2 tube in parallel with the frame rail, and clamp it there, drill a hole all the way through it, bolt the fender back on, and that should move the fender out 1 inch, and we should be spot on. No some assembly required, but same assembly. I just need longer bolts to go through that. Easy. Okay, so that's all kind of sort of figured out. I'm still thinking on this. This changes, my thinking changes on this thing if I have to move this axle back, and it's really bugging me. I hope I don't have to. I hope we're good. Because when I put it back together, it's going to scratch the paint when I put this back in here, unless I have help, which, good God. So, Resto Mods is still trying to get me to buy a membership so I can win their hot rods. My cell phone goes off on that thing frequently. Okay, everything has been removed. Decal's been removed. This one here, I haven't cut and squared this top piece up yet, but I'm going to do that real short like, and then I'm leaving that alone, and I'll put some vinyl clear over it, and then I'll cut the vinyl clear perfectly over the decal so that everybody's really freaking protected and happy, because Tony was adamant he really wants that saved. Basically, there's a couple reasons. One, the trailer is titled accordingly. Two, there's the original date of manufacture on that. So that was important as far as historic things. Okay, so we scrapped all this rusty trusty crap out of here. And this thing, oh my God, it worked still? Okay. But it's just crustified. I mean, you can buy these. If you ever break one of these, you can go down to a place called Fleet Farm. At least in Minnesota, they call them Fleet Farm, and you can buy these components. So you don't have to buy the whole tongue assembly if you ruin one, because this is a commonly bent or broken thing. If these things are standing upright and they get smoked sideways, they usually break or they're ruined. In this area, this slotted area, where it's the weakest, it gets bent right there, and they're junk. Well, that's junk. So, and whilst I was looking at this up here, I realized that there's other junky things. Can you see the problem? Well, obviously, that's twisto-flexed. That needs to be fixed, but now I'm going, why am I going to bother to fix this? Then I got to weld this crack, that's this rip that's going up here. I'd have to weld that, and by the time I get done, I got some ugly Franken F and thing on here, you know, that's all welded and buggered up. And why don't I just go down and beat the Christmas rush and not have to buy that, and just buy a new one of these and put it on. After it's painted, of course. Just grind off a little paint right there, right there, right there, right there. Or you don't even really need to do that. You can if you wish. And then you run spot welds in there. And if you do a decent job of it, it looks good. If you do a slobber job without a MIG welder, it looks like absolute royal hell. So, that's, I think, the direction I'm going on this. I haven't ran it past management, but he's given me pretty much a free rein. I don't see anything cracked on this side, but this side's the bent up side. That's the bent down side. And I found a bird nest. Believe it or not, I don't know if you can even focus in on that, but there's a freaking bird nest inside of here. Oh, yeah, there's some of it sticking out. So that's interesting. Then when I cut this, get done, I'll come back after I cut this off because I got to straighten all this destroyed metal. I got to straighten all that. So I'm not sure the direction I'll be going to do that. And there will be welding, I'm almost positive, because this is torn loose. I believe this and this are supposed to be like together. So anyway, now you know where this is at, and I'm going to break off here because this is going to be an awful long video for scrapping out the thing, and I definitely want to show how I'm doing the moving the axles and the pedestal, step pedestal too, because I have that all in my insane little mind on how that's going to go. So I will be back. Well, that carnage is over, and man, was that thing ever messed up. And it looks like it was put on here when it was new, and there's no paint under here, and they welded it on at the factory, and I just cut the welds. Then grind too much off, but I just cut the welds. I only welded it on the bottom side, which I suppose that's fine. I'm not fond of putting bolts in these. I just never have been. I mean, I've seen many of them bolted together, and they're fine, but it's just not my gig. Oh, bird's nest. Yeah, let's see if we can see what kind of creature's in here. Majority of the bird's nest is on the floor, but yeah, I'm going to take this tongue off and take it right over to the fab table, because this is, for the better lack of the word, fucked. So, yeah, I got to get that all straightened out. And I don't think the tongue is twisted. It looks it in with the video camera. Maybe I just back off a little bit, but it's fine. It's just totally fine. Moving right along. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. I'm going to yank the tongue out of it. Oops, almost fell over. I'm going to yank the tongue out of it and call it a day on the tongue thing. Focus on the body of the trailer and get this axle dropped out of here so that I can finish up on my final thing. Get this thing taped and off my guy that does sandblasting, and as long as he's not being a complete schmutz. If he is, well, fuck him. I'll do it my damn self. Just hate putting the stress on my old compressor. Let's see. I can't think of anything else at the moment. Oh yeah, I gotta fab that step thing. Forgot. Oh yeah. And what the hell's with the metric bolts? I mean, seriously. These were like in the back rollers and such. You couldn't go to the hardware store and get the right stuff. And that's a General Motors body bolt or what have you. It's got the shoulder on the end of it. See that? Yeah. Seriously. That's enough of that shit. Okay. That's just plain and simple gross. By the time I got it out of there, and I mean, I'm so glad I decided to pull this. You can see the paint's all wrinkledy-dinkledy up there with rust underneath it. It's just trashed. And the back side of this thing is equally, if I can... Okay, you're not doing it right. There. Oops. I dug it in my door. Damn it. But, good point. It's a double box tongue, so it's not as flimsy as others, and it's actually welded really well. And it was... Dilly made a hell of a trailer. But this thing has got just so much damage up in the nose. I mean, there's still more nesting. But, yeah, that's just got to get all fixed. That's so weak. You know, and that's the part that holds it to the truck. And that thing... So, now, moving right along here. I'm not welding this As you might notice, there's no weld here. And there's purpose behind not welding that is because when I put a bolt through here and crush that tongue in there, it'll stay put. And these weren't tightened, and they will be tightened. So everything's going to be super solid on the tongue. It's not going to move, and that's what we want. Now, I just mocked this up really, really quick, and as you can see, that rivet, by the way, that's not a bolt. It's a frickin' rivet. I am not kidding. The bracket is riveted to the back of the fender. Honest to God, I've never seen that before. So, news to me. But I took a 1" by 2" piece of stock, tube stock, 1/8 wall, or 7 gauge, however you want to call it. And I just threw it in here. It was a piece laying in the fab table. It centered the tire. That's the point. I mean, if you look at the tread center, it's bam, right on center with the tire. Looks funky from the back because this is out still and it needs to go in. But that's how that's going to be, dead center in the tire. Looks nice from the outside. Keeps the mud slinging off the boat. Yeah, if you're in the mud, God forbid. But that's going to work out really good. And all I got to do is drill two holes through here where the standard frame mounts, run longer bolts. I'm probably going to upgrade from 7/16 bolts to 1/2" bolts just because I can. And so this is cool because I will extend this piece out to about yay, and then I will take and weld, use some of the leftovers, and come out this way with a T and weld that to that, and that'll come out to probably about here, and then weld a piece of 1/8" steel above on top of that to the bottom side, drill 2 holes in it, and find a piece of wood, probably, I don't know, 2x6, 2x8 piece, and cover it with some kind of fabric so it actually looks like a carpeted step, and that will be the step to get into the boat. And so that's all going to still happen, but not on this video. That's down the road after a bit. And so is the erector set tongue or winch stand business. I'm not even concerned with that in the least. I have so many fish to fry with the hull damage that I got to take care of on the boat, and putting a transom in it. So this part of this whole thing has to get mocked up now. And so these parts can be made so they get sandblasted and go into the paint booth for paint. So that was the whole purpose behind this. I will follow up with what this looks like, the step pad, and what this looks like all done and bolted together on both sides. But that's probably going to be many, many hours later, as they say. So I have to do all the measuring and figure out where everything's going to be cut and take it to the bandsaw and make all the parts and weld the parts and do all that fun stuff. And of course, there has to be something in the way of me doing something, or this wouldn't be Rooster's Restorations, because you got to do 3 things before you get to do the one thing. That has been sitting in here, and I've been messing with it, and I got it sanded, but it's been sitting in here to get some paint thrown at it down the sides for like 2 weeks. And between having to do the fall cleanup, which that's all off my back now, and I'm so grateful. I got 1 tree to drop. Well, I got a dog kennel to move, and a tree to drop. Minor stuff. But that needs to be blue and get the hell out of here. And reason is because I need that trailer, because Tony's boat has to go on this trailer. So when I split it, okay, when I split the top from the bottom, that's going to be the donkey trailer. But in the meantime, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'll fill you in when I do that video. So getting back to the boat trailer, I got to wrap this thing up. This is getting awful long, but I am going to fab this stuff up. I'm going to mock it together, and then it gets all ripped back apart. And that trailer frame will go out the door. And the axle, I'll take all the axle and stuff apart, not completely apart. I'll take the wheels and tires off of it. I'll sandblast this skanky axle. I'll do all that here. I'll sandblast all that stuff, and that'll actually get painted in a black epoxy primer, so it stays nice for decades. And then I'll put I have a top coat I use, which is really ridiculous. It's a rattle can. I mean, I'll fill you in on it. It's Rust-Oleum product, but man, I'll tell you what, that stuff holds up. I've never seen anything like it out of a rattle can garbage paint. Well, I guess we wouldn't call it Rust-Oleum garbage paint, but it's definitely on the bottom of the barrel in comparison to what I shoot out of my paint gun. But so this is the side. You can see the tire sticks out of the fender. When you're paralleling the fender, it sticks out, and the tire is way offset in the fender. And this one here, granted, it's got to get sucked in a little bit at the back there, but it's finally lined up where it should be. And the best part of this whole thing was, as I was really concerned about finding a way to miss the spring underneath, because I was going to use the clamp style that clamped over the frame. This is like 18 million times better. So, anyway, I'm going to get back, and after this, I'll be back.